Welcome back to Call Me By Your Game, the podcast where I, your host, Connor McCabe, bring on a guest to hear from them about a meaningful or memorable video game from a particular moment in their life. Today, you're listening to a special version of the show. This is co-op episode 71, where instead of sitting down with one person about one game from their life, I'm sitting down with a wonderful panel to talk about a game in more of an overview style format. And today, we got some spider fever in the air, folks. We're going to be discussing Spider-Man 2, the 2004 movie tie-in game, not Marvel's Spider-Man 2. So buckle up if you want to revisit a game based on the movie by Sam Raimi, starring Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, and Alfred Molina. I'm really excited to get into this one today. You could be listening to this podcast in a few ways. You could be a supporter on Patreon at our $10 Engineer Toad tier, meaning you get this episode every month, exclusively a brand new co-op episode in your feed. If that's you, thank you so much. If you're listening in the future on our free feed or just on YouTube a week after this comes out on Patreon exclusively, thank you too. If you like this game or know somebody else who liked Spider-Man 2, the movie tie-in game, please share this episode with them because I think it's going to be a really fun discussion. And again, if you like it, just tell more people about the show. I want more people to find it. You can follow us all over social media. And if you want to, you can check out our Patreon to see whatever we're offering in the future when you find it over at patreon.com/supernpcradio. That's going to do it for the housekeeping. Let's introduce our guests for today. We got a few other fellow superheroes on the podcast. Let's first welcome back somebody who I talked to, I think exactly 12 months ago on the co-op series. Returning champion, Adrian Holmes is here. Adrian, welcome back.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome, buddy. It's a dream to have you back. We got two other superheroes here. Who's that? Slipping on his mask because he just, I don't know, took a hit from a cigarette, or is it a Zin in his lip? It's Tyler Schnupp.
It's a Zin. I don't smoke anymore.
That's right. As I started that joke, I realized it doesn't work.
Now, is this on YouTube, or am I allowed to drink my little beer in camera?
It is on YouTube, and you're allowed to drink your beer on camera.
Is that true?
Yes.
Only if it's a little beer.
Yeah, it's a little beer. You know, I think the 45 views or so that we get per video, I think is going to be okay. I don't think we're going to get found, so go for it, buddy.
Thank you, brother. And it's an original Zin. I just ran out of my dragon fruits.
Oh, I see. Well, Tyler, good to have you back. You have been on the series this year. I had you on in February to discuss Me and My Katamari for the PSP.
Yeah.
And that was so much fun. We have one more guest, though. Somebody who, oh boy, have I missed him. So good. And I've heard this guy's pretty good at kissing ladies while he's upside down with his hanging from a web. It's Mike Steele.
No, you got that backwards. I have to be right side up, but I demand that they are upside down.
Oh, okay. So I had that mixed up just a little bit.
Yeah, that's a hard and fast rule. If you want to kiss Mike Steele, you better be upside down.
You better flip up.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that way you may be putting a lot of parameters on that, limiting your kissing, but at the same time, you might just find the right person doing that.
Kissed a girl 2 minutes ago.
Hey,
Yeah.
during my opening, I love it.
She's on the roof right now.
Oh my
I
God.
love you, man.
Mike,
cool.
it's also great to have you back, buddy. I know I was kind of asking you before, but how have you been?
Fantastic. It's always good to be back for you, Connor. I love every single second I spend talking to you about video games. And you can tell that because of how many seconds I squeeze out of every attempt to talk to you about video games.
Mike, the man who has set and beat his own record for the longest episode of Call Me By Your Game, solo episode. I think your first one on Final Fantasy VI was 2.5 hours, and then your StarCraft 2 episode was like 2 hours and 45 minutes. It was one of those recordings, Mike, where I was in his room for so long that when I came out, Amanda was like, "Are you okay? What happened in there?" And I just told her, "I'm talking to Mike."
Yeah, talking to Mike. Yeah, that's all you need to say. And then
You were
after that
screaming
episode-
for so long in there.
Well, and after the episode, I texted Connor. I'm like, shit, I forgot to talk about it. And I listened to like 4 things. So it's like, I'm a problem. I'm a real problem, Connor. And every time I come on, I say, hey, I'm not going to do that. And then you go, Mike, you did it. You always do it. But I never mean to do it.
You know what? It's okay. What I appreciate is that you come in here excited to talk about video games and to share your passion. And I never have the spine to ask you to stop talking. So there it is.
Thank you, Connor.
You're welcome. Well, I'm so pumped to have the three of you on today. This is a brand new crew. The three of us, or the four of us, have never all podcasted at the same time. We've had plenty of crossover with even three or two of us at certain points. But I'm really pumped to do this. Before we get into setting the table about Spider-Man 2, I keep wanting to clarify the 2004 movie tie-in. I do want to give everyone a chance. If you want to share anything about yourself or if you have anything to plug today, we can do that up top. So, Adrian, I'll turn first to you. Do you want the listener to know anything about you, and do you want them to even find you on the internet whatsoever?
Yeah, you can find me on the internet at Homeboy, HOLMBOI, and I instantly regretted not doing my intro by saying pizza time. I goofed.
You know, it's okay. I'll put a link to your handle in the show notes. Tyler, same question for you, pal. What do you want to shout to the rooftops?
Yeah, Schnupp 150 on Instagram. And I don't know. I got I got a physical. I got tapes coming out on a small label in Seattle for my band Grail 150, which will be nice. They look good.
Very exciting, buddy.
I'm trying to think of I think I do have a name for the group that's here talking about Spider-Man.
Yes.
The Peter Posse.
Oh my God.
Because,
Okay.
of course, famously, Tobey Maguire, part of the infamous Hollywood group.
Yeah, the Pizza Posse.
The Pizza Posse.
That's what Adrian was talking about earlier.
That's right.
I should have known. Well, the Peter Posse it is.
There it is. Thanks.
You're welcome. And then, Mike Steele, buddy, do you want anyone to know anything? Do you have possibly any conventions or shows to promote?
Well, I got all sorts of stuff. I'll make it really quick. My name is Mike Steele. If you want to find me on anything, it's always Van Saves Lives on everything that I'm on. If you want to check out a show about my life according to Corey Feldman, famous child actor who, oh God, he hates me. He hates me so much. I am the face he sees in his nightmares, unfortunately. Check out Jim and Them. You can find it on YouTube. I have unfortunately become a Corey Feldman historian. It is not my gift. It is my curse.
Yes.
And if you're ever in the feeling to go to a really awesome video game convention, you can go to levelupexpo.com. We just put up early bird tickets for our April 27 show. It is I think we've recently became the fourth biggest fandom convention in the country.
That's
something
crazy.
like that. It's like we're behind Anime Expo. We're behind PAX Prime.
Like Comic-Con, probably?
Yeah, we're bigger than Comic-Con because Comic-Con refuses to get bigger.
Ah.
Is
Or
it
maybe
like
we're
some sort of card convention now?
No, I don't know because that's why I say fandom convention because
see.
there's like a boat show and a gun show that's bigger than us.
Yeah,
And-
those will always be bigger, unfortunately.
There's weird
Yep.
shit like that. So I say fandom just because I don't want to
Yes.
talk out of my ass. But if you like video games, if you like anime, if you like cosplay, if you like any fandom of any type, it's Las Vegas, Nevada. It is the end of April in 2027. Early bird tickets just went up. Levelupexpo.com. Check it out. It's a fantastic convention. If you know me personally, send me a message and I will just get you free pass because I'm cool. That's it. That's my plugs, Connor.
Dude, well, congrats, Mike. This will be the third or fourth year you've done it?
Oh,
Your
Connor,
convention.
you adorable little morsel. It is our 12th year.
12?
My
Yes.
God.
I think maybe I didn't hear you talk about it until a few years ago.
Yeah, I guess I was always embarrassed to plug things on your show, and so I would just talk about the games I was making
Yes.
that either did or did not come out, and then
Yes.
I didn't have as many of those to talk about, so now I have to plug other shit.
Well, great. I'm going to put a link to everything you just mentioned in
Thank
the
you.
show notes as well. You're welcome. Fellas, without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to just do a little quick table setting and context for what this game is that we're discussing. If any of you want to jump in and add on details, correct me about anything you can. But yeah, just really setting the table for what the listener's getting into in case there's any confusion for them. So I'm just going to start monologuing right now. Spider-Man 2 is the action-adventure movie tie-in game for the 2004 film by Sam Raimi. The game is the sequel to 2002's Spider-Man, itself based on the 2002 film of the same name. This game, Spider-Man 2, was released on June 29th, 2004. I looked it up to make sure, and the worldwide release of Spider-Man 2, the film, was June 30th, and I'm sure we're going to be talking a lot about movie tie-in games of the era because it's an unavoidable topic for this game, but I remember a weird thing on how sometimes games would come out a day or two before the movie, and you could essentially spoil it for yourself. I think that happened with like the Return of the Sith game as well, something like that. Does this sound familiar to any of you?
I played this game before I watched the movie. I remember that for sure.
Wow.
You could spoil it from the soundtrack.
I heard about that.
That's true too. Yeah.
What, it's like Anakin regrets all of his life decisions. Is that the name of one of the tracks?
Yeah. Child Murder by Hans Zimmer or whatever.
Anyway, this game came out June 29th, 2004, day before the movie. Originally, there's a few versions of this game. The one we are discussing is the one that is the essentially borderline identical versions between the PlayStation 2 and the GameCube. The Xbox and the Microsoft Windows version, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, are also very similar but have a few more differences, I believe. And the Game Boy Advance, the N-Gage, the DS version, and the PSP version are all very different games.
Connor.
Oh, God, I played the N-Gage one.
Yeah, I only played the N-Gage one. Adrian, we're going to have to do a different episode.
Okay, fair enough.
You'll be our N-Gage correspondent, I think.
I'll just fake it. I'll pretend I played the normal ones, and if you guys don't remember what I'm talking about, that's your bad.
You wouldn't be the first. We had a great episode a couple months ago where I discussed the original Max Payne, and Roxy waited to play the game until the weekend before, and then she couldn't get past like the first act, and so she just had to talk about it from like more of like a speculative or like watching. She had watched some videos on it, so she did her best, but it happens. So sorry to throw Roxy under the bus right there. Let's see. This game was published by Activision, and the console versions were developed by Treyarch, while there were different developers depending on which version, leading to their difference in product. All game versions follow closely the film's plot, but expand on it by including scenes and characters that do not appear in the film. Probably also going to be a huge topic today, including some scenes with characters that I didn't know at the time, like Mysterio, and characters that my 13-year-old brain would never forget, like Black Cat.
Black Cat.
Set 2 years after the original events of Spider-Man, the game finds Peter Parker struggling to manage both his personal life and duties as Spider-Man when scientist and Peter's mentor, Otto Octavius, becomes the diabolical villain Dr. Octopus after an accident. Spider-Man must stop him from recreating a dangerous fusion power experiment. When it comes to the voice acting, this game is kind of famous for having four of the main cast actually reprising their roles, including, I would argue, the three most important actors in the movie: Tobey Maguire, Alfred Molina, and Kirsten Dunst, as I said earlier. But also, J.K. Simmons did his voice as J. Jonah Jameson in this as well, which I honestly couldn't really tell.
Did he? Yeah.
I guess so. And then when playing the game too, look, huge fan of Kirsten Dunst here. Kind of mailed in the performance here to where I honestly could barely tell that it was her.
Well, you know about her writer for this game, correct? It's like, I feel like it's a fairly, not like famous, but I'd say it's a pretty famous piece of trivia for this game.
Please share, because I'm not aware.
Well, so you guys alluded to Black Cat earlier.
Yes.
Now MJ is in this game, and at the time, to save like not space but time, they used the same model for MJ's body as Black Cat's body, and Kirsten Dunst saw it and was like, "This is insane. You need to make my boobs smaller, or else I'm not going to be in this game." And so they had to like create a unique model for MJ, having totally not. This is like late in the game, and anyone who's worked on games knows that as simple as it sounds, it's like far more complicated to just suddenly have to like put entirely new shit in a game as late as it was, because voice acting's, depending on your game, it's either the first thing you're doing based off a script or the last thing you're doing because like you're like, cool, we know what we have locked in.
Yes.
And I don't know because I wasn't making games this long ago, so I'm not actually sure where it would have fit. But she did get to see it, and she was like, no, I am not doing this. And a lot of people have said that might be why her like performance is so like bad that she might have just been like, okay, I am like she right from like Jump Street, she was viewing it as like this embarrassing bad thing, and she might have just been over it, even though they did change her model. No, she was ready to walk.
I mean, I'm sure we'll be probably talking about that character model a little bit, but I can't blame her because it is as much as I was like I said, 13-year-old me was a huge fan of the Black Cat model. I can understand why she might look at that and feel a little objectified.
Yeah, it does. It makes sense now that she kept adjusting her shirt 2 feet away from her body.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
She looks like she was drawn by Rob Liefeld.
Sure.
Yes,
that's right.
I did one other detail which I'm only realizing now as I'm reading this for the second time. I should have caught on to this, but Bruce Campbell, who played an usher in Spider-Man 2 and plays the sort of like wrestling match like MC in Spider-Man 1, is the narrator of this game, which really he only is really narrating, I want to say, at like the beginning of the game.
Tutorial for sure.
The tutorial especially.
He does the third one as well.
Unbelievable.
Well, he also narrates himself when you play as him.
Is that in the can you play as him in this one?
Yeah. He's a playable. He's one of the. They had like like a bunch of like it was like the Tony Hawk character models and Glenn Campbell and someone else. Now I'm spacing on who the other one was, but it was more or less just like a body swap. But a couple of them had voice acting tied to them, where like when he'd swing and be like, "Oh my god!" Like it was shit like that, or like when you jump off something, or when you punch a guy and you quip at him. Glenn Campbell did have a couple quips that were unique to his little like playing as me model.
Can't believe we lost the Mary Jane secret playable character.
Yeah, Glenn Campbell famously didn't want to do the role until they made his boobs smaller in game.
Yeah.
As far as how this game, well, let's see. Before I talk about how the game was reviewed really quick, I just want to give a quick overview on like the style of the game. It's I would describe it as sort of like a narrative-driven open world game. It's an action adventure too, where you've got a few different modes of gameplay. Even when you're not following the story, there are side missions you can do, a lot of which can feel, I personally felt could be quite repetitive, but they do add some minor variety. There are boss fights. The star of this game is probably the locomotion of the swinging, but you're essentially moving through the city and propelling chapters in the story ahead. Like we said, that follows the film and also totally goes off and does its own thing for mixed results, I might say. As far as the reception goes, the console versions like the PS2 and GameCube were very positively received at the time, with critics commending the realistic Manhattan setting and web-slinging mechanics. The handheld versions received mixed reviews, of course, but that's not what we're too concerned about today. And
I beg your pardon. The Engage actually reviewed very well. Thank you.
How could I put a foot in my mouth like that? Unfortunate.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Anyway, there's way more details we're going to get into in our main discussion, but I did want to open it up to you guys. Are there any other just table setting details that any of you think we should include before moving on?
Trying to think, because like
that was
I mean,
great.
to
As
me,
soon as I asked that, everyone sort of looked up to think and ponder.
The way I think of this game is it was the first open world game I cared about besides Mercenaries, because it was like Mercenaries and Grand Theft Auto 3 were like, in my opinion, the other two, like nowadays every game's open world, right? We almost take it for granted. But at the time, it's like the only other games that were open world, you didn't have a lot of mobility. Like I thought Mercenaries was cool because it was like you're calling in giant like airstrikes and you have vehicles and shit, but you're not like doing anything interesting in the world. And then obviously Grand Theft Auto is as grounded as you can get. It is like it is like meant to be grounded. And then Spider-Man, suddenly you're like, oh my god, I'm doing the thing everyone's always wanted to do. And so to me, that was like, that is that I mean, even historically, that's kind of like the thing people call about this game is you just like you've never played a Spider-Man game where you get to do that, and that is so easy to forget that like before this you've just never done that.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, Great point. I love that. Adrian, Tyler, do you want to add anything before we talk about our personal histories?
Not that I can think about,
Okay.
unfortunately. I think we're
Yeah.
pretty solid
Yeah, you're right.
foundation wise.
Okay, great. I maybe the last thing I'll add is this game comes from a what I might describe as like looking back at it with some rose-colored glasses, a kind of golden era of like movie and property tie-in games. I This is just one of many that I particularly loved and sort of something we don't see near as often in today's age. Um, well, let's get into our personal histories with the game. I want to discuss how all of us came to play this for the first time. If anyone played the first Spider-Man game leading into this one as well, either recently or back in the day, and also any Spider-Man fandom you may want to share, because we're talking about a pretty popular character. So, Mike, I want to turn to you first for this segment. Were you a Spider-Man fan? Did you play the first game? How did you come to play Spider-Man 2?
I mean, I would imagine that my story is similar to most kids my age, where I grew up with the Spider-Man animated, like the 90s animated Spider-Man. And that is, I mean, still to this day, people regard that because outside of the whole like Spider-Man wasn't allowed to like punch and kick you the like funny ways where you like forget that like how the Ninja Turtles can't use their weapons. Spider-Man had all these weird rules that if you go back and watch, you're like, whoa, what the hell? Outside of that, like it's regarded fairly well, and so I grew up with that, and that was my first exposure before like
Oh,
I was a kid, so I like to me I knew about comic books, but I wasn't thinking of them as my medium because I'm like thinking
sure.
of TV shows and video games, and so I liked that cartoon so much that I'm like, oh, I want to read comic books. And I had like uncles that liked that shit. So they had like drawers full of things to give me. My grandfather grew up like as a comic strip person that
Hmm.
then graduated into some comic books. And so he had a bunch of shit. So I'd read it that way. Um, and so I was that kind of Spider-Man kid
Okay.
where to me, my canonical version for a long, long, long time was that 90s cartoon
Hmm.
and which even I mean itself got essentially a video game which very very well regarded, and guess what everyone wished they could do in it more was swing around the way they want to swing around as opposed to just like swing twice from one rooftop to another a couple times or swing around in a warehouse. um and so I would call myself a fairly large Spider-Man fan, but again, very specific. Started with the cartoon. I'm not gonna fake the funk here when it comes to Spider-Man, but I have since obviously read a shitload of comic books. I'm a big fucking loser, and
Hey.
I'm a Halloween baby. So my
Yes, that's
birthday's on
right.
Halloween, and so I love dressing up in costumes. And I'm also 40, and so I can't bring myself to have different costumes every year. So the costume that I have worn the last 3 years, that is just now my adult costume, I go to California Adventure on Halloween and wear it costume, is a Spider-Man costume. I dress like the Enter the Spider-Verse 2. Yeah.
Across the
Into the Spider
Spider-Verse?
Verse,
Yeah.
Across.
where across the Spider Verse, where Peter's in the pink like robe, and he has his baby in the
The
carrier on his
Jim
slippers.
chest.
Johnson character.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have a pink robe, and I have like a baby that like is in a carrier that I made a costume for, and I don't have to wear a mask for that. That is my costume. So even my forever Halloween costume until I am old and gray and walking around the park with my hands folded behind my back, I am Spider-Man.
I love it. And when it comes to you getting into this particular game back in the day, you already told us that you played it at least the day before the movie came out. So were you excited about it? Did you play the first game?
I was excited. I played the first. I played the one based kind of like the animated style one, and then the first game from the movie. And
Yeah.
I liked the first game from the movie. Weirdly enough, the thing I remember the most about it is the first person mode that you could unlock in a code
Oh,
afterwards. And then the ability to play as the Green Goblin as like a hidden character, which was like really fun because it was like a type of mobility that they had to create for a secret character that was actually
Mm-hmm.
really, really fun to mess around with. And then the first person mode, again, you get to do that swinging, and it's kind of one more step closer to what you
Yeah.
wish you had. Both fine games at the time, but obviously a very, very different world, because by the time 2 comes out, again, it's this open world like game changer. And it's also, like you said, a licensed game. It's where you were in a bit of a renaissance where licensed games could be good. They weren't all good, but they could and often were good. And this was one of those games where people forgot it was a tie-in to a movie because of how good it was. But that was also why I bought it, because I was super stoked, and everybody kept saying ahead of time, like, hey, dude, this is the web swinging you have always wanted. Hey, get ready. If you have ever wanted to live that Spider-Man power fantasy, you will never get closer than you have here. And I did like I believe it was a Best Buy midnight thing where I stood
Wow.
in a line and bought it at Best Buy, and because they did that with a lot of big games and then big game consoles. And so I believe that's how I got it. I think it was it was a Best Buy midnight sale, and so that was fun. And I believe I not skip, but like pretended to be sick so I could play it during school, and it was a very, very good game. Then I saw the movie, and I was glad I didn't play more of the game, because later in the
Ooh.
game, it really does just like not give a shit about the things that it's just openly portraying. But there's so much stuff that's not in the movie that it was that fun, like see a movie after you've read a book and you're like, ooh, what will be there? What won't be there? It kind of had that
Yeah.
going on for it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thanks for diving in for this. Did you happen to dip back into the game at all before we did our podcast today?
No, because I wanted to. For me, it was a nostalgia thing, because if I were to, I will try to not talk about this game as much as possible. But Web of Shadows, in my opinion, is the best Spider-Man game ever made. Web of Shadows, it's so good. It's so good, and it is the game that, in my opinion, did the next best. Hey, you want to do all sorts of Spider-Man-y shit, but swinging had already been done, so they're like, what about all the other stuff? And it was the web zips and the yanking stuff out of people's hands and the yanking people into the air and doing like acrobatics, and then the switch between regular costume and symbiote costume stuff that basically the Insomniac games, I'm not saying they ripped it off. They rightfully transitioned everything that Web of Shadows did into their games, because you should. So to me, I wanted to talk about Spider-Man 2 nostalgically, because if I
Yes.
played it now, I would just be comparing it to Web of Shadows in my brain. And then
Yeah.
I would probably come in here with a more negative opinion. And that's not
Sure.
fair to this game, because it's more time and place. And so I'm going to talk about that time and place as
Awesome.
opposed to refresh my brain and then
Yeah.
accidentally have new opinions.
Cool. No, perfectly reasonable. And don't worry, I played it, so I'll be able to give some of that that modern opinion on it. But as a little preview, I still have plenty of positive things to share about
Good.
this. Revisiting it. Ty,
Yeah.
buddy, do you like yourself
yeah.
a Spider-Man? Do you remember
do.
playing this game for the first time? And tell me about that.
Oh yeah, my uncle, I think worked at a comic book shop when I was very young, and I was a big fan, of course, of the animated series, all that. I was really geeked up about that first movie, you know, a good time to. When did that? It must have been like early middle school or something for me.
2002, and you and I think we're the same year, right? You graduated 09?
Yes,
high
that's
school?
correct. Yeah.
So I think, I guess we would have been in like 5th grade-ish, going into 6th. So anyway,
Yeah. And you know, I liked it. I grew up with a little brother as well. We had to share the games, of course. We had that first game, loved that game. Absolutely annoying that he just goes in a straight line kind of wherever you're going. We must have gotten this pretty early that summer, because I think me and my brother were both excited about it. We didn't get like many games throughout the year, but that was one where we kind of, I think my little brother must have
grease the wheel.
greased the wheel a little bit. Pretty nice. Thank you to him for that. Nothing else. As a child of divorce, of course.
Yes, yes, yes.
My catchphrase. I loved this game so much. It was like my first decompression game, I feel like, because I love the swinging in this very much. And my take is maybe the best swinging in any of the Spider-Man games, and I don't care. Because the new stuff, it's too fast. They're like, oh, he's zooming. You got to be zooming. What about taking your time? What about decompressing? Stepdad's hassling me. Teachers are hassling me. I got to throw on the Walkman and just swing, What happened to that? And so I would do that. That was one of the few times, because there was like a little game room or like office or whatever where the computer was.
Yeah.
And it was one of the few times I remember being like to my brother, like, I just got to swing. And him being like, hey,
life crisis at age 13.
Absolutely. Yeah. But that was a big thing was playing this and listening to CDs.
Cool. That's awesome.
Because this game gets very like silent all of a sudden. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like the symphony will just stop, and it's just like it's kind of a comfortable silence, but it is like there's no music at all.
Yeah.
It's just like the thwips and whatever. But I played this. I played it I must have played it twice through when it came out, or in that era, because it had a few games. We didn't have a whole lot, so you always be replaying it. And then when I was more of an adult, somebody had a GameCube at a house in Seattle I was living in, and I'd never played it on the GameCube. And I'll say I think it feels better on the GameCube because of those
triggers, right?
The triggers,
yeah,
they feel good. Yep. And I think I had a better time playing it on the GameCube.
Interesting.
But I played it. I think I must have completed this at least 3 times, if not at least 1 or 2 more, just to see Black Cat mostly.
Do you remember like an album or a band you may have been listening to when you listened to your Walkman in?
Yeah, I was. I've always been very big into the Ramones, and my mom would have. I would steal her Ramones CDs quite a bit, and the New York Connection. I was like, that's great. Awesome. Another record I do. I remember listening to a lot, which also came out that same year, was like Cake Pressure Chief.
Hell yeah.
And it's like not something that's ever like, another gift that I'm like, well, I have the CD and I listened to it a lot, and I haven't listened to it since, except for today when I was like, that is one I was listening to. So I did go back and listen to it. Yeah. So, yeah, those are the 2 that come to mind at least.
Cool. And you told me before the show, but you also, kind of like Mike, have this game preserved in your memory. Did a little watching of videos, but didn't play it, right? Yeah.
I was going to, because I thought I had it, and I must have loaned it out to some freak who didn't give it back.
It can be easy to forget who you loaned games to. I know Tyler has one of my games right now, and it's Resident Evil 9. But just so everyone knows, I'll put out a call now. I don't know who has my copy of Expedition 33. I must have lent it out. Don't know where it is. So if it's you, message me.
Yeah, you're better off. You're better off without it.
I liked when I played that.
I know, I'm a hater. I'm a big fat hater.
That's right. I remember you didn't like that.
I'm the only one. I'm the guy. I'm the one guy.
You are. You didn't like that or Sea of Stars.
Yeah, they reminded me of each other.
Sea of Stars is more of a mixed bag for people, but anyway.
I enjoyed Sea of Stars.
I'm the worst. I'm alone. I don't
fun.
even pretend to act like my opinion is the right one. Everyone else's is.
It's all right. Before I hit up Adrian about his history with this game, I want to say that, Mike, I think about this every so often, where you are the most fascinating person when it comes to your opinions and your taste, because sometimes I'll think, oh, I bet Mike loves this game, or I have thought that in the past, or oh, I bet that's a game Mike doesn't like, and I would say I'm right less than half the time. But it's a fun surprise. Like sometimes I'll hit you up about a game and you're like, "Yep, I loved it too," and then I'll be like, "Mike, what'd you think about this?" And you're like, bored me to death. So
Wow.
you keep me on my toes, pal.
Thank you. I try to be very honest, and that what ends up meaning like a lot of wild swings from your boy Mike Steele.
Yes, but for us, as it's done in the past, and I think every time I don't know, maybe I say this just to make sure you know I like this about you, but it lends itself to interesting conversation. So I do appreciate that.
I try not to be a mean hater. I just try to be an honest hater.
Yes.
Respect. I've got freak takes as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think we all do.
as the Peter Posse does. It
As the
should.
Peter Posse does.
Adrian, it's your turn, buddy. Were you a Spider-Man fan throughout your life? Did you anticipate this game? Did you play the first one too? Tell me about it.
I think pretty much Mike and I have like a 95% similarity.
We always do, Adrian, every time.
Same deal. Spider-Man, 90s animated series, infiltrated our brains. And I remember watching the first one and being blown away that's right, because I watched X-Men after that, because I don't remember why. I never caught X-Men. But yeah, same deal. Except it was not my uncle, it was my old man who had a bunch of old Spider-Man comics.
Dad has great
that he
taste.
would let
He also
me.
like Super Metroid.
You know what I mean? I get it all from him.
Dang.
But saw the movie, and then I saw the movie first. I did not play the game first, and I got the game after that. And I am one of the GameCube freaks. I played it on GameCube, and
Nice.
but I mean it's pretty much the same experience. So
Yeah.
I don't feel like I missed out on anything. Yeah, same deal. Had a phenomenal time with it. I do say that. I mean, we'll get into the nitty gritty in a little bit, but this game set up a lot. I mean, like when you think about the Insomniac ones, for example, they took a very, very large percentage of inspiration from this specific game. And there's a reason for that. I think we already talked about, the fact that Treyarch was definitely in their bag. They made a game that was not a movie tie-in game that just happened to tie into a movie. So
Yeah. Agreed.
yeah, I love this game. I did play the first few chapters to kind of get a refresher.
Nice.
And I will probably pop into that when we cross that bridge. A lot holds up, some doesn't, but I can't hold it against it. It's from 2004, so
Cool. Awesome, dude.
that's my origin.
I love it. I'll close this part out by sharing my history. I didn't grow up a particularly big Spider-Man fan. I think I had seen some of the animated series on television, but it's not something that I was like had a passion about or regularly tuned in for. I didn't play any of the early games. I did, like so many of us, fall in love with the first Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire movie, and had that DVD. Absolutely wore that thing out, and I think I saw it in the theater twice. I still remember being in the theater and seeing it at the Regal Cinemas in Modesto, California, out on McHenry Avenue. I remember
Shout out
being
to
there.
Modesto.
Shout out to Modesto. And I loved it. Didn't play the movie tie-in game though. And then when the second movie came out, I remember going to see that for a friend's birthday. My friend from church, Matt Meyer, sweet guy. And of a few of you, at least Adrian and Mike know my best friend from childhood, Eddie Martin. I think, Tyler, have you met Eddie on a podcast ever or not? Have you not had the pleasure?
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
I think he's one of the few.
A few more boxes I got to check for you. And I can't believe you never met Mike before today. But Eddie,
Yeah.
I remember being at, and Eddie, if you're listening, I got to tell this story. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to throw you under the bus. But I remember being at Matt Meyer's birthday. And we went and saw Spider-Man 2 for his birthday. So it was an awesome birthday. And then we went back to his house. We swam. We played basketball. We had cake. It was an awesome summer birthday.
Dude, that's all-time kid day. That's that's like a sick kid day.
Unbelievable kid day. I think it was the weekend that the movie came out too. So I want to say it was like a Saturday. But I remember Matt opening gifts for his birthday. And he opens a gift from Eddie, and it was a Switchfoot CD. And the detail, I've told this story in vague terms before, but here's the here's the Switchfoot's not the honestly not the funny part about it. We were Christian kids, but the funny part
Were they
was
Christian?
Yes, they
Okay.
were. Pretty sure. But like they were like they like tried to hide it a little bit.
It's like MXPX, or like
That's- I
they
was
were
about to
Christian for a
say.
bit, or like Reliant K, like they sneak a thing in every once in a while.
Exactly. So I just remember Matt opening the CD and being pumped about it, and then noticing that the shrink wrap was off of it, and Eddie was like, "Oh yeah, I burned it before, so I could have it too." And it was just something I never had considered you could or should or shouldn't do that, but it's given me a laugh ever since.
It's a
But-
dirtbag move, but I respect it.
Yeah,
You know?
it was like he was like, "Hey, a little for you, a little for me," sort of thing.
Yeah.
But
Could have done it after.
Say it again.
Could have done it after. But
Absolutely could have done. Hey, can I borrow that? Anyway, I got this game because I fell in love with this movie like so many people. I think for the longest time too, this was like I liked the first movie a lot. I loved Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. Fell in love with every aspect of it. And I got this game, and I remember playing through this game and being just sort of transported into spiders, into the human spider's body. You know, the thing that this game did
yeah,
really well.
I do.
You do. The thing that this game did really well that I managed to accomplish that my favorite movie tie-in games of the day did was it made me feel like I was living in the world of the property I already loved. This is part of the reason why back in the day I loved the first few Harry Potter games because I felt like Harry at Hogwarts. It did the job. It was not a 10 out of 10 game, but it was great. This one I think falls into a similar category. I remember, I think I only played it once back in the day, also the GameCube version. I have another funny anecdote where I remember...
GameCube freaks. GameCube, baby.
I went to summer camp, and this was the first year that, bringing up Eddie again, that Eddie didn't go with me to our summer camp that we were at. So I was kind of on my own, a little like stepping out there, like had friends at camp, but wasn't in like a cabin with any of them. So I had to make new friends. And there was this kid in my cabin. I don't remember his name for sure. I want to say his name was Zach. He was a small blonde boy. But he and I found out that we both liked the Spider-Man 2 game. And we were talking about it, and he's like, dude, you know what the best part of that game is? Black Cat. And I remember being 13, and I think, not trying to hide any stories or be dishonest about it, but I think I was like, oh, she's hot, but I didn't like fixate on it too much because I was still like barely going through puberty. This kid was like, I feel like I could see the
drool coming down his chin.
The semen behind his eyes, basically.
He's like,
Kid,
I'm sick of objectifying a woman that barely looks like a woman like Laura Croft. I want a woman that also barely looks like a woman like
Yes.
Black Cat.
Yeah.
yes, and I don't. It's so funny that I remember that detail from being 13 at summer camp. But shout out Redwood Christian Park. But that's probably the most significant conversation I ever had about this game. I was just trying to look at my eBay account because I eventually sold my original copy of Spider-Man 2 for the GameCube, but I own it now. I have
That's worth a whole $3. What are you doing?
dude, I know. I could be rich. But I did buy the game on eBay, maybe like in the last 4 years for sure. I think it was like I got it for less than $15, complete inbox, great little copy of the GameCube title, and replayed it for this podcast. Earlier this year, I had caught what I think they're calling bat fever. Are you guys familiar with this? It's when you like learn about Batman in a significant way for the first time. You like have known about him, but you actually like learn more.
Yeah.
What?
We played
You did this late in life, you're saying.
yes. I always
Gotcha.
liked the Nolan Batman movies, and I had seen some of the other ones growing up, but we played Batman Arkham Asylum for our second games club this year.
That'll do it.
Had you never, Connor? I don't even know why I'm asking. Connor's never played any video game, and I'm always every single time I am shocked by the games he hasn't played. But somehow I still have the utmost of respect for you, Connor. I don't know what you're doing. It's working, but I don't know how you keep letting me down. But then I turn around and I'm like, you, and then I just fall back in love. I
You
don't know
little
how you
scamp.
Keep doing it to me, you little scamp.
You're kind of like all the teachers I had growing up, Mike. I had just enough charm to win you back. I had never played Arkham Asylum or any of the Arkham games, but we played that.
That's nuts.
During that series, I fell in love with Batman. We actually rewatched the whole Nolan trilogy before we did the series for fun, me and Amanda. But I watched Batman, the 1989 movie. I watched Batman Forever. I started Batman. What's the one with
No Mask of the Phantasm?
I watched Mask of the Phantasm. Our Games
Saw that
Club
in
group.
theaters.
We got together and watched that. Oh, you did, Ty?
I did, yeah.
Ooh.
My uncle took me. He
I
loved
remember,
it.
yeah, I remember being like, wait, I can see the cartoon in a movie theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's
It
super
rocked.
good. It's like it's identical to other storylines, except they just make up the Phantasm and replace the other characters it usually is. And I'm like, oh, this rules.
Yeah.
Is
I think
that
I got a
shading
comic
on the
book.
characters?
It's basically like the exact same story as when Jason Todd became Red Hood. It's like with I mean, this obviously came first, but it was so good they basically lifted the story almost exactly for all the Red Hood stuff that came on later. It's like almost identical.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I never thought about that.
I loved that. Turns out I had watched it like 5 years ago, but didn't realize it, Mike. I ended up watching like 25 episodes of the animated series just throughout the club as I was like, I'd like make lunch. They're 20-minute
Perfection.
episodes. Eat lunch, watch an episode or an episode and a half, and be done. So after all this Batman
Wait,
stuff-
Connor. Can I ask you a question about your journey?
Please.
What did you think of the Adam West 60s Batman? Because that's one of those things that I feel like a lot of people treat it like it's like corny and naive, and they don't read because they haven't watched it recently, and then they go back and watch it and realize, oh, these people 100% knew what they were doing, and it was really clever. And now I have a 4K TV, so I can see all the gags. Like, or did it feel like lame and old to you?
Well, I can't tell you how I felt because I honestly didn't interact with any of the Adam West stuff. I know. There was plenty that I got to dive into and plenty that I just missed.
Okay.
This is great. This is like second puberty for you, Connor.
Kind of. Yeah. What about second puberty? Anyway, funny that happened because leading up to the release of Spider-Man Brand New Day, which does that come out this week that we're chatting about this?
Next week.
Next week?
Yeah, next week.
I think
Got my
that's probably
tickets.
why I decided to do this episode in this month and come out, it'll come out next Tuesday, so the week the movie comes out. Amanda was like, she has such a type. She was like, this Tom Holland guy gave a good interview. We should watch all the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. And I'm like, it's okay. You can find him attractive. It's fine.
I was going to say, just tell the truth.
Whoa. Yeah, are you pretending right now? Are you saying that because you're like, basically, I look like Tom Holland?
I don't look like Tom Holland, but I do have some like boyish features. Like
Right.
I'm not like the manliest man, but I fall into I would say I fall into a Tom Holland, an Elijah Wood, a Daniel Radcliffe style of boy.
That's fair. If I found out that Tom Holland hadn't played Arkham Asylum until recently, I'd be furious and I'd instantly forgive him.
Yeah.
You get it?
She was like, please, can we watch the movie where he's a high school boy?
Yeah, and none of the other ones.
None of them.
So we rewatched the Tom Holland trilogy, Spider-Man Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. And then when I was playing this game, getting ready for this, I was like, you know what I have to do? I have to rewatch the first two Sam Raimi movies. So in the last week, we watched both Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2, which I think was incredibly helpful in helping me shape sort of thoughts and opinions coming into this episode, even though I've shared pretty much none of them and we're 50 minutes into the podcast. But It was awesome replaying this game on the GameCube. It took me 5 hours and 9 minutes. I know because my final save said that. And
It's that short? It didn't feel that short.
I bet you beelined a lot of shit, right? You're not doing all the pizza deliveries, I bet.
I didn't do near as much side content as I
Okay,
thought,
that makes sense.
or I planned to. But if you look at how long to beat, it's the main story without anything else is 4 hours. Main plus extras, they list it 6, and then completionist is 13 hours. So it's really not that extensive. There's a ton of side stuff you can do.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, like the races and all that stuff. But anyway, I would love to get into our main discussion today. Let's talk about our thoughts and feelings about Spider-Man 2, the movie tie-in, all these years later. Uh, Adrian, I want to turn to you first, buddy. And
Yes, sir.
I know I might be begging the question here that may be an obvious answer, but you give a sincere of one as you'd like to. When you think back to this game, what is it that sticks with you the most? Is there an element or a moment or something in the gameplay? What comes to mind for you?
When I think about this game, I think about this is probably no, there is no probably. It is. This is the first time that, and it's gonna sound cliche because all the game reviews love to use this, but like you literally actually felt like Spider-Man, like going up to a super tall building and just jumping off, and you can feel that pit in your own stomach as like the world around you starts to blur because you're falling so fast, and then you finally get into that swing and hit that anchor point. There was no feeling like it back then. And you could just, like Tyler was saying, sometimes you're just sitting around, you're like, God, I need a swing right now. you know um it's just it's not only that, but it's also, when I think about that, when I think back to that, I think about the details. I think about when you're swinging past people on the street and they're saying what's up, and they had the idea to let Toby, go back and forth with him, like, hey, thanks for the you're looking good yourself, things like
Yes.
that. Just these small little details that help the game to feel alive, that like Mike was saying, there's maybe two other games that were on that level, open world wise. That's the two things whenever I think about that, that come to the forefront.
Yeah.
Is you feel like Spider-Man, and it's a perfect example at that time of a living, breathing world that you can exist in.
For me too, I would say so much of that I resonates with me. What you were sharing. We've been talking around it a little bit, but I'd love to talk about the thing that made me feel the most like Spider-Man, and the thing I think holds up the best in this game is the swinging mechanic. We've talked about it a bit, but just so that I make sure that I actually say it on the game, they totally revamped the system from this first movie game to the second. In the first one, when you are swinging in the air, Spider-Man is essentially shooting up into the void and is being like softly propelled through the air, and it's as if your webs aren't attaching to anything. In this game, the way they designed it is that your web swinging, Spider-Man is actually attaching to specific points on buildings and other objects, which it's amazing how well they were able to do that. Yes, Adrian.
Can I just pop in, since we have him here?
Please.
Mike, as a Game Boy,
As a Game Boy, I always thought
Yes.
of him as more of a DS, but go ahead.
Sorry, I thought we were the Peter Posse, but go on.
This is shorthand because he is a game guy. He's a Game Gear. How mind blowing would this have been as like in Dev World back in '04 to have like anchor points for webs and to have the physics dialed in like that? Like, was anything like that happening back then?
Dude, like if Connor would have asked me the question he asked you first, like what do I think of when I think of this game, it would be the answer to your question just now, and it is the ambition and the scale of this game. The ambition and the scale of this game is so wild that I think people aren't actually remembering, probably when they're nostalgic about this game, the types of games that were being released alongside this game. There were some games that came out that were comparable, like years after, but like when this game came out, the idea of what you were doing, like you said, like, oh no, we want the webs to connect to something. That's like, dude, back in the day, it is hard for a character to look like they're holding something in their hand, and usually they would just model a second arm where a soda can was built into the hand or a gun was built in the hand, because things interacting with each other, there was a whole lot of fast and loose like developing going on there, and you could usually get sloppy because usually it was a guy punching another guy or something splashing or going through. Like you see clipping was just a part of games back then. Like you don't even think about it. Like you're just like, oh yeah, or like turning your camera and seeing through a wall. You just got used to that because that's what games were back then. And nowadays that stuff is finely tuned. But at the time this game was, they kind of had to like future proof it because they couldn't do a lot of that shit. They couldn't just have the web connect to the clouds. They couldn't just say like, well, the draw distance doesn't really matter. We can just kind of render the stuff that he's looking at. Like they had to think about the big city. They had to think about things that were running on cycles. They had to think about connection points and what is not just in front of you and behind you, but what is above you and below you. Because everyone in the world is going to do what Adrian said. They're going to jump up they're going to climb the highest building and jump off. And you know what you don't think about in games? You think about draw distance forward and backwards, maybe up, but you don't ever think about draw distance down. You don't think about the idea of you're making a city, but it can't feel empty. And that by today's standards, they all feel empty. You look at them and they look empty. But at the time, they don't want it to seem like you are in a VR, Star Trek VR version of, just like a gray box map that we added textures to. And so the ambition and scale of this game is still impressive now just because of what they were thinking of trying to do. But back then it was unheard of, especially for being a licensed game. So I can only imagine how much fun it was to be working in an atmosphere where games, you had the freedom and time and money to work on a game that you could be this ambitious with and have it be the type of project where my guess is these guys probably had 14 months to make this game. That would be my guess. But it's licensed. It's for a movie. They had a dead drop date because the movie already had a time. Back then, stuff didn't get pushed as often. That would be my guess. Probably 14 months. And nowadays, a 14-month project, even if it's an indie project, you damn well better have done 3 years of planning because you don't get to have any fun. You don't get to do any experimentation. You're not doing anything special or interesting. And so that it must have been really, really fun back then to be a dev and get to like spread your wings and try stuff and do cool shit working on a game like this. Sorry, that was the longest answer, but I was trying to get
I appreciate it.
Mike answer he could get.
Whoever made him do that perfect swan dive he does, mwah, so satisfying.
Well, Spider-Man is an early example of a game that had a shitload of like wireframe, like bring a guy in, put ping pong balls on him, and let's instead of animating him directly. That game did have a lot of that stuff because oddly enough, Spider-Man 1 and 2 did a lot of that work for them, like as films that they could then because a lot like nowadays it's hard to say what can and can't translate over like pre-made work wise, but a lot of that like performance capture stuff, or I guess in this case, it'd just be animation capture. A lot of that would just be like, hey, give me that data. Our animators can use it the same way that your animators would. And a lot of it, spoiler alert, was swinging and spinning and jumping and backflips and acrobatics. And so I can't say with confidence that this happened, but I would not be shocked at all if because this happened all the time back on stuff like that, if they use some of that same stuff to make that stuff look good.
Almost like a little bit of like resource sharing maybe between productions, possibly is what you're saying.
Yeah, just a guess. I guess based on what Tyler said, it was so good and it was so that movie. It wasn't just Spider-Man. It was that movie's way of Spider-Man moving that was very specific. It was a different but very accurate version of Spider-Man. I would be shocked if they didn't do something.
Yeah.
Even if it was just like animators that were allowed to see like dailies like way, way, way beforehand. But possibly they were since they were doing the animation capture stuff, I wouldn't be shocked if they had some of that data.
Now, there's another part of the swinging that I would love to bring up, which is in this game you get the boost. The left trigger, you get to boost it.
Yes.
To speed it up. I don't know that I can't remember if the newer games have that or not.
This last weekend, out of curiosity, because it's kind of it feels impossible to me to not think about the newer Marvel Spider-Man games. I feel like they're all the Spider-Man games are just in conversation with each other. But Tyler, they have some things you can do, like but it's more similar to how in this game, even in this game, you try to time your jump at like certain apexes to get a certain style of jump. Like if you want to speed through the city, you try to time it as your arc is like going at its most horizontal, I guess is the way I describe it.
Yeah.
But if you want to fly high through the air, you try to do it as you are swinging more upwards in your jump.
This game has contextual momentum that the newer games don't. The newer games, they like fix your speed. They do a lot of like, they want you to like, I mean, Tyler mentioned it earlier with his like chill while he swings. They want you to get up to speed real quick.
Yeah.
So there's very little like physics involved in the new games, but the old one, that's that swing you're talking about, like where you try to time it. And then even like Connor said, trying to hit that apex to spin different ways. They had a ton of real physics that must have been a fucking nightmare back then to program, but they had a shitload of physics in this game that I think lent to the realism a lot.
Yeah, I think it both felt great because it was fun and so well designed in this game, but also it was like you're saying, Mike, the slight element of realism that was less realism, but the physics that they tied into it gave it like just a kiss of realism. That
it was an intuitive
real
like physics, because as a human being, you know how to swing something. You know what it's like to be on a swing or on a slide or on a roller coaster. You know that stuff, and your brain can tell you like, oh, this is when I should be doing this or that. And that intuitive physics-based swing makes what Tyler's saying with that, like, I really want to get that oomph at the bottom so that I'm like hitting it as I go up, and then I want to release at the last second so I kind of twirl in the air like that. It feels so good.
Do you remember I remember a commercial for the game, and it was like everybody in skyscrapers being like, "Can you believe all this crap?" And then it pulls back, and there's just webs hanging down from like every single building in New York.
I don't remember that.
I didn't look it up before this. And I hope it exists, or I just created it. But I remember seeing it a lot.
I don't know how long your webs stick around in this game, but there were plenty of times on this replay where I would be swinging from something and maybe stop in an area to like, stop a crime or save someone, or just to like to interact with like a speed challenge like icon. But the webs do stick around for a certain amount of time. And there was something about seeing them hang and even have their own physics that like I'm sure hit even better back when I first played it.
They were really proud of it because they made a whole commercial about it.
Yes.
You could like hang in one place, and then you could also like just like keep shooting them out.
Tyler, I haven't really turned. There's so much we can keep elaborating on some of the stuff that we've already shared so far, but is there anything that you want to focus on discussion-wise or bring up, whether it's a big element or like a small detail?
I do love that you get to go to like little spots, like you go to the office, feels like you have an actual job, the Daily Bugle.
Wait, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's the one in
I knew you were going to,
The Daily Planet.
The Daily
thank
Planet.
you. I just confused myself. Sorry, Tyler.
No, it's okay. I love going, secret or whatever. You got your rooftop, whatever. You can go into your apartment, or maybe that was the third one where you could actually like kind of walk in.
You go in there once in the game, but it's just to start another mission.
I think the third one they really hype up the apartment. They're like, you can kind of hang out there if you want. Like kind of thing.
No thanks.
Well, for me, oh God, what a dream, having a shitty apartment in Manhattan.
Tyler's just taking his character model in there and putting on different CD, whatever got in 2007. I don't know, Motion City soundtrack, something like that.
So yeah, probably that. I like the side missions. I think there are some compilations of like the goofy stuff that like the NPCs will say, "Spider-Man, get my voice." Like some of them are like really
that guy's
over
really
the top.
white.
Yeah.
Dude, do you guys remember? I think it's one of the missions where you have to like take someone to a hospital, and they're like, "Help him, he's hurt," and he's just like, "The pain, make it stop." I to this day will like quote that to people, and they have no idea what I'm talking about. The pain, make it stop. It's so funny.
The voice acting from the NPCs in general, Tyler, is it's mostly hysterical because it's mostly bad.
Yeah.
But it
Awful.
honestly almost has swung around to be entertaining in a way. Like you guys named a couple of funny ones. I felt like every interaction when you talk to someone and they're like, Spider-Man, like there's a shootout right over here with some criminals. It'd be like 8 criminals shooting at 2 cops behind the car, and the cops are always like, you won't get away with this crime, and they're like, shut up.
But
It's so funny.
And the gunshots I remember being like Heat the movie style, like very loud, like sort of like,
With these 80 caliber bullets coming at you.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. It rocked. I do, because you can yank stuff out of people's hands in this one.
You can, yes.
And but you like hang in the air for a little too long to be doing it. God, I love that.
Yes.
Or it feels a little clunky, but just right,
It was very funny returning to, I would say, the thing that I honestly had the least amount of fun with on the return to this game, and I think I know why, was the combat itself. It kind of, there's some things about it that are fun. Like I love holding that boost, Tyler, running towards an enemy. If you hold down the punch button, you just sock them in the air, and then you can jump up and beat them up there. There are elements that are fun. There are so many combos you can do in this game. But I honestly didn't end up using most of them because they felt too slow to me. This could be a user error. Felt too slow to me to implement when I'm being shot at by enemies.
It's not user error, Connor. That's the weakest part of this game.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
know that I do know some people actually look upon it positively. So I was kind of curious if this was something you guys remember feeling at all.
I would
Yeah.
say it's why I like Web of Shadows so much, because this game figured out a lot of the how do I swing through the city in a way that feels good, where Web of Shadows figured out the how do I feel like Spider-Man in a fight stuff.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that would be like the one glaring weakness of this game is that you don't feel like you're doing Spider-Man stuff in fights. You feel like you're doing Spider-Man stuff between fights.
Sure.
Like when you get like there's like a Mysterio fight in this at the theater where it's on fire, and that's where like the web swinging is like, well, this is terrible. Like you're supposed to like swing, save the reporters. I don't know.
I
like
think it is journalists at his play that he's put on his production.
Yes, and then you're supposed to save them, but you can get stuck so easy, just like swing, like hitting a wall, or just like falling in the fire super easy. That's pretty clunky. But Mysterio in this game, I love that design. He's like an alien.
That's what I was going to say. One of my favorite things was seeing them not just, it's one thing to art direct a character that everyone knows, right?
Yeah.
But this is based on the movies. So they have like a second, like mission statement. It's not just what does Mysterio look like? It's what would Mysterio look like if he was in this version of the Spider-Man Raimi movies. And that was really fun with a lot of the characters and the way they tried to go like, okay, cool. Based on what we've seen, probably early versions of this movie and the entirety of the last one, what would these characters look like in this iteration of Spider-Man? And that was fun. I think Mysterio was a fun, very accurate version of what Mysterio would look like here.
Yeah, they said, someone get a theremin in here now.
It was Jonah.
Yeah.
It kind of seems like something out of like Mars Attacks to me.
Yeah, it's great. It's so cool.
I had I remembered the Black Cat was in this game. It's one of the, honestly the most things that is most talked about at present day. I want to say is her inclusion.
Can I say I've never heard it talked at this length since I was a boy.
Yeah,
yes,
I've got to say, I feel fantastic because it didn't even occur to me that we would even talk about her once.
Yes.
And so my soul is clean. I'm feeling real good about my place, my mindset, who I am as a person.
Yeah, we're finding out that I'm the pervert. That's what we're learning.
Exactly.
But all that being said is I completely forgot that Mysterio was even in this game. I knew she was, but I didn't remember that there are like 3 characters. Rhino's also briefly in the game as well.
The games
God, I
love
hated
to
that
do.
fight.
Yeah, it's
rough.
because it's an early one too. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's impossible to dodge that rush attack from me. Anyway, I can't do it.
Yeah. It's tough. What I love about the games, the video games will always put a shocker in there because they never do them in a movie. They only did them in the animated series, really, and they'll do them in every video game. And I love that they do that.
And I love that he's always just this like, because that's who he is in the comics. He's just this hapless loser that looks cool and has a great name, and he's the biggest loser. And everyone knows he's a loser, and Spider-Man knows he's a loser, but he thinks he's the best.
Yeah, it's sick.
All of the stuff we're talking about, the inclusion in this game of additional, I guess, story beats that have nothing really to do, I say, with the exception of the Black Cat plot, which is, I think, personally really great. So much of this has
Yeah, we know.
Yeah,
there he goes again.
It's just that Connor meme where it's like, Connor's here for the plot, and then it's a picture of Black Cat's weird boobs. It's like, the plot.
Oh, I'm totally doing that today, aren't I? But
You're good, buddy.
So much of it is, like, the Mysterio stuff couldn't be less necessary for the main plot of the game. The Shocker stuff ties into Black Cat's story, but Black Cat's story barely ties into the movie and the narrative itself. That said, I think when it comes to, making a game based on the movie, there's only so much that narrative that they really had to tell in, in my case, a 5-hour experience expanding what was a 2-hour movie. And there's only so many action set pieces they can do. Some of them I think they did really well translating to the game, and others you could just see they're just doing their best. And that's why the fusion reactor that Doc Ock builds is this pulsing weird thing that you just have to learn how to cheese your way around, I think.
Yeah.
You guys remember this stuff?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember that being really annoying, dying a bunch. Me and my brother being like red-faced, you know what I mean?
Yes. That stuff, there's a handful of moments in this game that I would say are really poorly designed and not fun at all, but a saving grace of it is that there are actually some generous checkpoints in it. So at least you're basically just like kind of like a Celeste level restarting at the beginning of the final Doc Ock fight. So even though I died 17 times, I got better, and it felt like I was replaying a like cruelly designed platformer in a way, if that makes any sense.
Looking back on it, it's not surprising that the boss fight design was so bad because the combat was bad.
Yes.
And when you're trying to design boss fights, the first thing you do is you look at the verbs that your character can do, and you go, cool, let's either subvert or include those verbs. And since the combat's so clumsy, but there's also a bunch of shit you can do that you never will do, the boss fights are designed around all of that stuff you'll never do, and the stuff you do that you don't like, and you're like, oh yeah, these bosses are going to be miserable.
Yes. Yeah, and that's why some of the other stuff in the game, like the chasing a speed trial through the city, can be really fun because you're essentially just trying to master the locomotion, which is very well designed.
It leans into all the strengths, where the bosses had to lean into all the weaknesses.
Yes.
There is, because all the character designs are so stiff, because that's that PS2 GameCube era, that scene where he throws the car in the window is so funny because it's the both of them jumping out the window like
Yes.
just stiff faced.
When he's at like the cafe with Mary
The cafe,
Jane.
excuse me. Yeah, the car comes through the window and they go by. Just stiff faced is so good.
It's just like someone like, those modern things where people like take a Photoshop thing and like wrap it around and they move it around like they're animating. It looks like someone just like wrap tooled around them and then just dragged them slowly.
Yes.
That ended up, comparing even like a scene like that, Tyler, comparing it to my rewatch of the film, it was so fun to see moments that I thought they executed really well, moments where there are some peculiar changes and adjustments, and then moments to where I was like, how are they going to even show this? Like the train scene in the movie, which is like such a cool set piece where...
It's the iconic scene of that movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, that
You're
movie is still one of the better Marvel movies, and that is, I think, the best sequence in the entire film.
Yes, it's so good, and the way they tried to do it in this game is it can't hold a candle to it, and that's okay. But there are other things that I think they did moments that I think they did recreate in a mildly satisfying way. So it
The
was
Doc Ock bank stuff is okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine. Yeah, there's I'm not trying to be antagonistic at all.
No, it's funny.
I was honestly trying to remember that in the
Yeah,
game.
no, I could tell. It was just
My memory goes blank.
Again, not good. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. I had in all of this stuff. I just feel like we were kind of talking about the additional characters that were included, the story moments. It's funny. There are certainly two, maybe a third pre-rendered cutscene in this movie. This game. There are very few of them. There's one at the beginning, in Dr. Octavius's initial presentation where everything goes wrong and Rosie dies and he becomes Doc Ock. They do a full 3D pre-rendered cutscene, which is really interesting. Do you remember this, Ty?
I do, yeah. Because they maybe do it like one or two more times, or that may be the only time.
I can certainly remember one more. There may be a third, but it really could just be the two. And there's one at the end of the movie or game, I think.
The game, yeah, I think they're the three total. But yeah, it's weird. It's just because nothing else looks like it.
That's where the facial motion budget went.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
That's probably that. My guess would be that is the like, hey, we're making a game based on a movie stuff. They were probably given like 6 pages of shit about the movie ahead of time.
Yes.
They're like, hey, this is stuff that will be in the movie no matter what. Here is our script. Make these cutscenes, and then here's where they go. And then everything else was them just doing whatever. That would be my guess on why that stuff stands out so dramatically.
Yeah,
That would make so much sense. Yeah, because they didn't have especially if there was only so much that was cemented earlier that they would even be privy to, like you're saying, Mike. They only had so much of a runway, a train track, if you will, to implement that in a fully rendered cutscene rather than just having the character models have some interaction and voiceover dialogue. I feel like there was another thought I had on that subject, but here's my thought. Because they leave out a lot of crucial character moments from the movie, which is probably just due to time constraints and budget. Part of me understands, part of me wishes we got more, even if it was bad. I think back to... It is totally different though, because they're making a game based on a movie. I think of the first Metal Gear Solid, where those cutscenes, the character models, all of that. I have a complete adoration for it. I love it like a son. I also don't think it looks very good, but they had the ambition and they did it. Maybe it is, Mike, Adrian, Tyler, just a product of they're making a movie tie-in. They only had so much time. And they were only privy to so much story before it came out. Maybe. I don't know. It's all
That's the most
speculation.
likely.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think story was anyone's priority on this game. I think if you look at a game, and again, this is a game, again, I'd guess you 12 to 14 months, you go, what do we care about?
Yes.
And what does everyone still talk about to this day? It's the swinging and the locomotion and the animations. I think you have to choose what you care about, and they really cared about that. And that means other stuff doesn't matter, but also it's tell me that the story mattering makes this game 10% better. You really nail the story of a thing that already exists that can't change from the movie you're watching. It makes this game 10% better at best. So they just go, screw it. Let's put way more time into something that will make the game 100% better and just completely throw out that hypothetical 10%.
I don't think there are any other movie tie-in games that people hold in high regard like this, are there?
X-Men Origins.
X-Men Origins is a good one.
X-Men Origins Wolverine. That's a fantastic movie tie-in game.
Okay, I never played that one.
They're
really good.
They're out there.
Over the Hedge.
This is Beetle Adventure Racing. That counts as a tie-in because it is a Beetle branded game.
Okay. All right.
Tell me I'm wrong, Connor. Oh, I'm sorry, Connor. Have you not played Beetle Adventure Racing?
It's the N64 racing game, right?
Yeah.
I you do make some really great points though about that, Mike. It's like they're assuming that if you're playing this game, at least I'm guessing that they're making this assumption's made, is that if you're playing this game, you love the movie and you can fill in the narrative gaps, and they'll give you some to piece it together, but overall they're not. Yeah, their chief concern is the gameplay, not the narrative.
Yeah.
And there's enough there to still piece together the main conflict of the story being that Peter is feeling torn apart by his life as Peter Parker and his life as Spider-Man, and those two things are conflicting. He can't have both. I would say the biggest surprise for me, as I get back to being someone who likes the game for the plot, is that one element that I really appreciated. Again, the biggest surprise to me of replaying this game was how the Black Cat stuff, there's actually an arc there where she is sort of reflecting back to Peter that he would benefit, because he talks to her throughout the game about his heartbreak with Mary Jane and how it's not working out and how he can't do both things, and she does a really interesting job of like reflecting back to him, holding a mirror up and saying like, well, you should probably find a relationship where you're going to be able to be Spider-Man. And he struggles with that throughout the whole game. In fact, I think she sort of, in a way, makes like an emotional pass at him, and he kind of gives a no, but thanks anyway for teaching me about myself, sort of thing.
Yeah. Sorry, I got to get back to my pizza job.
It was just a total surprise to me, and I did not expect to have that take coming away from this game.
Also, I feel stupid, Tyler. GoldenEye is probably the one people.
Sure.
That would be my guess. Would be the big one that people would bring up, because there's a bunch, but all the other ones I can think of are after Spider-Man, not before. The only one I can think of is GoldenEye. That isn't just like a Super Nintendo game where they slapped the name of the movie on it, but it was probably already being made. I think GoldenEye is probably the other one. Sorry, Connor, go back.
Do you guys ever play a Hook on the Super Nintendo? It's kind of good.
It is not good. And I'm a man who loves
Mike. That surprises me.
I've got Bangarang on my knuckles, Connor. So I'm a man that appreciates Hook.
Yes.
And that is not a good game, Connor.
Mike, you, like I said earlier, you never cease to surprise me. I love it.
You know, maybe the Hulk game was actually kind of
Ultimate Destruction.
Yeah, well, that one's better. But the movie tie-in, similar to this, where you could kind of jump around, it's not very good, but it does have all that. They took the charged jumps like you could do. You know,
that's cool.
Forward in Time, the Captain America game based on the first movie. It was made by the same people that made the Punch Out on the Wii game. And it's just Batman Arkham Asylum combat. It's just like stolen straight out. And it's like, of the time, it's actually probably like the last good movie tie-in game before all those just turned into phone games and then disappeared entirely.
Sure.
Wow.
We got to play Over the Hedge for one of these.
The final co-op ever is just Over the Hedge.
Yeah.
Well,
we'll have to sit and listen to the Ben Folds soundtrack while we play it and just like go over the hedge, like just for fun.
Just like Tyler would want us to do.
Yeah.
I want to, we've been talking for about an hour and 20. I want to, not at this moment, but I'm going to start to sort of take us down the road of wrapping this thing up. But I do want to turn to everybody at least one more time before final thoughts. So these aren't necessarily final thoughts. And open it up to you guys. What's something in this game we haven't discussed that you want to? It could be a specific moment, a challenge. It could be an element. Is anything coming to mind for you guys that is outstanding so far?
I'm curious to know or to see what you guys think. Why do you think for this supposedly having to be a movie tie-in game, did they allow them to put the additional characters and scenarios in there? Do you think that maybe that was something that they wanted to put in the movie and it got scrapped and they said, here, you could use it for the game? Because usually with tie-in games, they want it to be like a one-to-one experience. So why, I wonder, did they get the go-ahead to do this?
I have two answers, Adrian, and one of them is probably a fun little bit of trivia. Because I have a hypothetical guess answer and then I have an actual content answer.
Ooh, which one are we getting first?
I'll give you the actual tie-in one first, because Kraven was supposed to be in this game, and they removed him. And the version of Kraven that they were using was because Raimi had started writing a draft of the third movie that was going to include Craven, that then got tossed out. And when they decided not to do that, they let the people in the game know, and they had him pull from the game as well. Because what they were trying to do with the game was set up stuff you were going to see in the movie later. Very, very early cross branding, like plant a seed, have it grow somewhere else kind of thing. And then when they decided to pull, like they were very early and they're like, hey, you know what? This is not a Craven movie anymore. They were able to tell them pull that out of the game. So that's like a weird, fun, like not, I guess it's not answering your question, but it is telling you like stuff they didn't do as far as where the ambition comes from. I will tell you that of that era, video game tie-ins mattered. They sold a shitload of, they made money. They were an important part of the stuff. So like they were, and also games didn't take as long to make, so they could be an important part. They were the most important in the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo era, because it was that butter point of cheap and fast mixed with tie it into something and make money. But they were still fast enough in this era where I think they said that because they're like, if we don't let them do that stuff, what are they going to put in the game? Like, you can only do so much. Like, fair. Just keep in mind, is it like an old Spider-Man game I loved is like Maximum Carnage. That's a really, really good game, and that's a beat 'em up, and that is a game with, you go from one point to the other point and you do stuff on the way. And inherently, if you're going to make a game that isn't that, you need to have more than what the movie will give you, because then you're no longer saying, okay, let's make a level based off this scene. Let's make a level based off this scene, like you used to for movie tie-ins. Like, think about like the Toy Story game on the Super Nintendo or something, and all their inspiration is from scenes in the movie, where this has to go further than that. If they want their game to be 5 seconds long and probably have no one like it, then yeah, just base it directly off the movie. Or if you want to have no ambition and close it down, not have it be open world, have it be more straightforward and level based, kind of like that first Spider-Man game on the PS1, then you can adapt a movie directly better. But when you want your game to be open, and my guess is they were seeing other games and probably told them like, hey, make it be open, and all the ambition came from there, that it's kind of not a long walk to go from, okay, well, if you want us to do that, can we also
gotta have
do
stuff
this,
to put in
this,
it?
and this? Yeah, we need to fill this world with shit, and then that's
Gotcha.
not and they're not precious about licensing back then either. So it's probably really easy to go, hey, you're not making a movie based on this, or this, right? And they're like, zero chance we're doing anything with them.
This is this one of the few, like, I can't remember if it's you're able to or not, but in almost every Spider-Man game, they give you the ability to dress up as every other Spider-Man that ever existed. Do you know what I'm talking about?
You mean like costumes and that?
Skins?
Costumes and skins. But I don't remember being able to swing around as Ben Riley in this,
I don't think
or
there's a
whatever.
single costume change in this game.
I don't think so either.
Well, other than Glenn Campbell, right?
Right.
But that's like
Bruce,
a code
yes.
to play as someone else. That's different.
And maybe I'm just thinking of the PlayStation Spider-Man game where there's like a million,
Maybe
cameos from everything,
Yeah.
where it at least kicked it off where you could be every type of Spider-Man, like a
right.
2099 or whatever. But I think they do that in other Spider-Man games.
Well, even the first movie game, because there's like, hey, I'm wrestling ring Spider-Man. Hey,
Right, yeah.
I'm like homemade suit Spider-Man. Hey, I'm red and blue, like without the big thick silver lines on it Spider-Man. Like what you think
Yeah.
of as like comic book Spider-Man. Yeah, there was more in the first one than in this. I never even thought about that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And even like the newer ones will do it, and they got the Spider-Verse stuff.
yes.
Which I think, what a genius idea from that whole team who created the Spider-Verse.
And you can even have a feature on that costume that you animate it like 17 frames per second too.
And
So
that's really
good.
cool. But just to mash all of I feel like people love all these different versions of Spider-Man,
Yeah.
and now they are all, the Spider-Verse concept has made it so you
Yes.
could they can all just be hanging out together.
It's leaked everywhere.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up one moment in the game, especially when since we've been on the subject of like, lengthening it with these additions that Adrian sort of brought up in his initial question. And something that I thought was so funny was there's like three or four Mysterio actions you have. You like compete against him in like some sort of like criminal wrangling show at the Madison Square Garden, which is honestly really bizarre and cruel. You do that. You like Tyler brought up the part where you like sort of try to save journalists at his play where he starts to burn the theater down. Yeah. You have to like chase him to the Statue of Liberty where he's got all these like sort of alien balloons and you kind of are swinging across the water to there.
Yeah.
Funniest moment. I don't know if this is the final interaction with him. I can't remember. But there's one moment where you walk in like a comic book store and Mysterio's in there and he's gearing up to fight you and he starts this big monologue about how he's going to destroy you. And then the game does the trope, which I had never seen it before. I've seen it in games since, where it shows Mysterio's name and then a health bar and it powers up like 4 different colors as if there's like 5 different health bars he has. And you go and punch him once. And in fact, I ran over to punch him. And he immediately gets knocked out. And it was such a funny. They've subverted that in more modern games, especially do that, like a sort of Dark Souls take on it. They did it in Tears of the Kingdom, where spoiler alert, Ganondorf's health bar extends way farther than you might think. But that gave me an actual laugh in this game.
Yeah, solid one. He's the best part of the game. He's the best villain in the game, in my opinion.
He's very funny. Well, folks, did you guys have any other details you want to share before I turn to final thoughts?
I had 2 things that I realized are corrections that I misspoke because I was looking something up to make sure I was right. Because as I said that Craven stuff, I was like, why do I feel like that's wrong? And I am wrong. They cut it for everything but the Xbox version. The Xbox version still had the Craven stuff.
Oh,
and I think that's why I don't remember it because I played the PS2 version. You guys played the GameCube version.
Yeah.
I forgot that some of that Craven stuff still wound up in the Xbox version.
I played the PS2 and the thing, but it's definitely not on PS2 either.
So I know that my story about the movie stuff tie-in was still like that was a plan. They were going to do that, and that's why they asked it. But I didn't know that it wound up in one of the games. And then I was wrong. The cool goblin, the goblin stuff is in 2, and that's why it's so great because you're flying around the city as opposed to swinging around the city.
Wow,
they do one in the first one as well because that was the Green Goblin game. This one, I believe you're Harry Osborn, like on a goblin fighter. But like I forgot that this one I was remembering what looked like the first game, but the fun of the second game because you're in the full city. So 2 corrections that I was completely wrong about, but man, was the Goblin Glider stuff very, very fun in this game.
It was great, and they played the Shin song when you're flying around up there.
I think can't you throw pumpkin bombs?
That is absolutely true. The Shins thing is from the newest Spider-Man 2 where they're in they're playing basketball and then the Shins start playing. You're like, what the hell is that?
I assumed you were making a joke that you listened to the Shins while
no, but it would have been the era.
Just ending you, bro.
Yes, me and my Garden State soundtrack.
Unbelievable.
And I believe I did have it, so it's not it may have actually happened in real life.
Say what you will about the movie, the soundtrack's pretty good.
Hey,
and then my one last thing, I would say to you 3 specifically, Connor. I do this a lot. I like recommending things to people. Ooh. If I talk about something and I'm like, well, these guys have some passion. I urge you. It is very difficult to play. I don't know where you would even do it. You guys should play Web of Shadows if you have not played Web of Shadows. Web of Shadows is an exceptional game. It is a game of its time, don't get me wrong, but it is a game that I know that Adrian, you mentioned that you feel like Insomniac borrowed heavily from this game, and that's correct in some ways. I would love you to play Web of Shadows and then go like, holy shit, Insomniac's combat is just a better version. Like they did to this game, they did to Web of Shadows where they're like, oh, let's take that because they figured out the combat stuff. Let's like improve it. What everyone started doing to Spider-Man 2 once Spider-Man 2 figured out all the swinging. And so
gotcha.
It's janky at times, but it's also a wholly original game. And it's got some fun stuff because the idea is the city's being taken over by a symbiote. and there's symbiote versions of non-Spider-Man characters that is very ahead of its time as far as that, and it's very, very fun.
This has Wolverine in it? No, sorry.
It does indeed have a symbiote Wolverine in it.
Yeah,
is there symbiote Black Cat? Because Connor's not playing if it's not.
You know what,
Yeah,
Connor?
I'm making a hard stance.
Connor, I don't want to drop any spoilers, but maybe you should check out Web of Shadows, my friend.
Yeah.
Yoing, yoing. Amazing. I love that rec, Mike. It was funny when one of you, I think it was Mike, you brought this up like, I don't know, an hour ago. I Googled Web of Shadows because I'd never played it. And there's like eBay listings for it on the 360, and it goes for like $160 now.
Oh,
I bet
really?
you can emulate it.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just a current listing.
I bet you it's sneaky rare because famously when this game came out, IGN gave it like a 1 or something. Like they did one of those let's make an example out of this game things. Because it was at the time it was an Xbox 360 game and there was some jank on some of the levels where occasionally you just like fall through shit. Like
Sure.
It's video games. I get it. Like I'm also probably looking at rose tinted. It might even be worse than I remember, but it wasn't like it was not as bad as they say, but they decided to go, no, fuck this. We're making an example out of the jank in this game, and we're deciding it ruins the game, and it does not ruin the game.
Yeah.
So over time, I do know that once the Insomniac games came out, people started kind of like a proud Web of Shadow loving Mike was like, yeah, people were starting to like retroactively appreciate what that game did ahead of time to help the Insomniac games run by walking very, very quickly. And I wouldn't be shocked if this game became like sneaky rare because said, oh, fuck game, because they saw an IGN review that was bad. Later, oh shit, maybe it was worth playing.
It's a
Mike, is
Corey
there
in the house
again?
situation. Sorry.
Sorry, Mike, you sort of glitched out for a second. Will you say the second half of that sentence one more time?
Oh, my bad.
No, you're fine.
I'm trying to think of what the second half would have been. Just that I bet you it became sneaky rare because people that didn't play it when they saw a bad review started hearing, oh shit, this might have been an influence for Insomniac.
Yeah.
Maybe it's worth looking at.
Oh, okay, I see. And sorry to Tyler to jump on your Corey in the house joke. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
The
Don't worry
DS
about
version, was that the expensive one?
Yeah, where everybody started review bombing it, saying it was the greatest game.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Amazing.
I just wanted to ask if there
Adrian.
was you real quick for Web of Shadows, Mike. There is an Engage version, right?
Yes. Unfortunately, that's the bad one.
Oh no.
Yeah. You have
Reverse.
to play on the 360. I know. It's
I
really
only
weird.
have an Engage.
Okay, well, I mean, give it a shot. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, when
Okay.
Adrian said earlier he got a Retroid, he actually has an Engage now.
Connor, you're not supposed to tell people.
I'm sorry. Adrian, did you have anything else you didn't get to share on this episode yet?
I pretty much I think we're all on one accord. This game is I would say very, very good. And it's very influential. It also is a product of its time. I think all these things can be true at the same time. I kind of want to go back and play that Xbox version now that I know that there's like content in it that we never saw before. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, Adrian, is that kind of sounded like some good closing thoughts for you, and I kind of echo a similar or share a similar sentiment about this game, where it's especially having just replayed the entire thing. It's absolutely a product of its time, but at the same time, and there's some things that I think are so well done in it, and some parts of the game that I never want to play again. But at the same time, I think this game, there's a couple points I want to make. I think the great legacy of this game was the building blocks and the mechanics that it set up for future Spider-Man titles to come. And again, having just, even though I've missed most of them, I haven't played Web of Shadows or a couple other ones that I know are well regarded, just revisiting the Marvel Spider-Man for about an hour earlier, I was just feeling the influence of the web swinging, of course, specifically. And it was amazing. And I think that this game just did such a great job of setting that up and making progress in a way that was great, that, they were really, I feel like gaming itself was rewarded for the ambition that Mike brought up early in this podcast, of like them really pushing a boundary on the locomotion design in this. It's just done so well. I may have had one more thing I wanted to share.
Can I ask you guys a question while you think, Connor?
Please.
You guys have a choice. You're on an island and you can only choose one. Is it Spider-Man 1 Hero featuring Chad Kroger, or is it Spider-Man 2 Vindicated by Dashboard Confessional?
I got to go with Dashboard Confessionals Vindicated.
Yeah, I think
I'm gonna go Hero.
Okay.
Heroes great. God, this is tough.
It's tough. It's tough. Definitely tough.
I gotta go Dashboard on this one.
Yeah, I kind of feel right. Like it feels like it's tough, but like it's kind of hard not to choose Dashboard, right?
Yeah, it is.
What was there a closing credit song in the third movie that I'm not remembering?
God, I
Probably.
probably
I like to imagine it's Sean Paul, probably.
Sean Paul. Yeah.
That makes sense, right? I think I have exhausted pretty much my thoughts on this game, but it was so fun to review and just like go back to a time and place where this meant so much and just made so much progress for games in general, and was kind of a triumph of a movie tie-in game that, hasn't aged the greatest, but there are elements of it that were so important and so great. Mike, did you just find the song?
What Google says is the iconic song from the soundtrack is "The Twist" by Chubby Checker, which I mean, it's hard not to laugh at.
That is so funny.
I believe it's Snow Patrol, Signal Fire.
Oh, Signal Fire, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Ty.
I also love Jet in these soundtracks. Jet was huge back then.
Yeah, they were part of that 2000 to
Mm-hmm.
2006 garage rock revival. You couldn't escape it.
No.
Ty.
Yeah.
I'd like to get some closing thoughts for you, as you've been, reminiscing about this game and watching some videos on it and talking recently. What are you walking away from this conversation feeling?
I think that the newer Spider-Man movies have sort of ripped off my vibe from that time when this came out, because now they've all got headphones on and they're listening to music. But no, it's great. It was comforting to see all the clips. I would have played it in full had someone not stolen it in their own homes that I put there. I gave it to them to hold in their own homes, but that's fine. I love it. This is the best swinging in any of the Spider-Man games. That's my opinion. Goodbye.
I love it, Ty. And then, Mike, closing thoughts for you, buddy. What do you have to say?
It's an influential game. It's an ambitious game. It makes me nostalgic for when tie-ins mattered, because it is in the grand scheme of things, right? At the time, it felt like there was still plenty of time for tie-in games to matter, but in like the real like time scale now, that was like the butt end. That was the butt end of tie-in games mattering. And as a kid as a person that would say the N64, I'm sorry, that the SNES is its favorite console ever, tie-in games were, they were tantamount to a regular game. Like you just thought like they weren't separate. They didn't feel different. So it does make me wish that we still got that kind of stuff. And I love a world where our current games are a hellish hellscape that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, that everyone dies and leaves and doesn't want to be a part of. That there was a time where you could be working on a fucking movie tie-in game and go like, guys, let's really make this one a banger. And it's just like, God, I wish I was older when that was a world and I could have worked on games like that.
Would have been so cool, man. Well, fellas, thank you all for being on this episode and discussing Spider-Man 2, the movie tie-in game from 2004. This was felt like such a good excuse to replay this game and chat about it. And the Peter Posse will live to swing another day. I'd love to go through with you guys really quick. I know we plugged up top, but if you want to replug the stuff you brought up earlier on your way out, I'll start with you, Adrian. Buddy, thank you so much for coming back to the podcast. It's always a joy to talk video games with you. What do you want to plug on your way out?
Just my regular socials. You can find me any and everywhere on this here internet at Homeboy, HOLMBOI, and occasionally talking games with my fellas and my good boy Connor.
Oh, isn't it a treat? Tyler Schnupp, buddy, thank you for being here. I I shot a web of hope to you, hoping that you may want to discuss this game, and turns out you had a pretty fun history with it with your headphones. Thanks for being here, man. What do you want to plug?
It's Schnupp 150 on Instagram, Grail 150 on streaming platforms. That's about it right now. If you want a tape, I'll post where to find them.
Amazing. Maybe send me that link. I'll put it in the show notes.
Okay. They're not
Mike
quite
Steele.
ready yet.
Oh, that's okay. Maybe someday. Mike Steele, buddy, thanks for coming back. This is awesome having you on. Like Adrian, I don't think it's been about a year since I had you on one of these co-op episodes. So welcome back. I'm glad I could get you on another freak game, a freak episode. Thanks for being here, man. What do you want to plug?
One, I'd like to congratulate us for not bringing up 9/11 once on this entire episode.
Oh wow, we did.
Really, we're an impressive group of guys. Never forget means nothing to us. Van Saves Lives on every single platform. Van Saves Lives if you want to find me. Levelupexpo.com. That's LVL. Like it's the cool video game way. And Jim and them on YouTube. I cannot stress to you enough that Corey Feldman is one of history's greatest monsters. And if you want to find out why, just tune in to Jim and them. We will teach you up. We will school you quick.
Full of historical information on Mr. Feldman.
I am a historian.
Whoa.
Historian.
Now, was that the first time you've said that?
Oh, hell no.
Pretty good. Well, thank you, fellas, for being here. I'll go ahead and close out this podcast with some plugs of my own, including the cover art, which is done by the artist Glenn J. You can find a link to his Instagram in the show notes. This podcast is produced, edited, and the original music that you heard at the beginning and the end is done by Jeremy Schmidt. You can follow Call Me By Your Game on Blue Sky, on Instagram, and on YouTube, which might be where you are watching and listening to this. You can also follow me on Blue Sky at Connor McCabe and on Twitch at twitch.tv/consiscool69. And lastly, is if you're not a patron, consider checking us out. We're over at patreon.com/super NPC Radio. We have different bonuses at each of our tiers. At the free tier, the $2, $5, and $10. More podcasts, the higher up you go. If you are interested in supporting us, find something that works for you. Otherwise, listen to our free stuff like the Super NPC Games Club on the free feed, where we go through a game in a book club style format, chapter by chapter. We got a bunch of our good stuff out for free if you just want to find us there. But thank you for listening to another episode of the Call Me By Your Game co-op series. We will see you on the next one.